Folks, someone very important to me came to me for help regarding a YouTube video titled Debunking Trying to Read a Creationist Propaganda Textbook. And this YouTube video was done by a YouTuber that goes by Mini Minuteman. He makes a lot of points in this video, but for brevity, I chose to address just one point regarding the dog kind. And I chose this one point because it gets at the crux of what this creation evolution debate is really all about. And it also exemplifies just how Darwinists hyper scrutinize everything that the Bible says, but they totally fail to critically examine all of what they've been taught about Darwinian evolution. Here's my response. He is doing what Darwinists are notorious for, equivocating on the term evolution, as well as making a straw man argument. He calls gray wolves, coyotes, dingoes, and all of the different domestic dogs coming from one canine, that's in quotes, a process called evolution, in quotes again. Then he asks, so if they acknowledge that that's possible to happen, why and he uses an expletive, would it be wrong to say that that's always been happening? Then he throws out more F-bombs and uses the Lord's name as an expletive. What is he talking about when he uses the term evolution? Is he talking about all of the dog kind coming from one original pair, a male and a female, not one canine as he stated? Or is he talking about life starting out as a simple single-celled organism and becoming all of life on this planet? If you start out with a single pair, male and female, all of the genetic information is already there. No new genetic information has to be created. Through sexual reproduction, you have an almost unlimited number of possible gene combinations that could easily account for all of the variations you see in dog-like animals today. This is true for all of the other kinds of animals, all of the kinds of plants, and all of the people. This fits the biblical narrative very nicely and matches what we know about science. Now let's talk about Darwinian evolution. To start with, we have never observed any such thing as a simple single-celled organism. Cells are very complex. Assuming there was, the Darwinian evolution narrative is that through random mutations and natural selection, enough genetic information was actually created to go from this simple single-celled organism to all of life on this planet in all of its integrated complexity without anyone asking the question, where are we going with this? Genetic mutations overwhelmingly cause a loss of information. Most are nearly neutral or slightly deleterious and are not eliminated by natural selection. If they were, none of us would be here because we all have genetic mutations. So you have this genetic load building up, and a lot of genetic mutations are quite harmful and are still not eliminated by natural selection. Genetic mutations are practically synonymous with cancer. I just lost a friend from cancer that was caused by a genetic mutation. And they cause diseases like heart disease, kidney disease, muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, Huntington's chorea, hemophilia, etc. Do not take my word for it. Do an internet search on genetic disorders and see what comes up. Genetic mutations are like if you have a set of instructions to make something and the instructions work, and then you just start randomly changing the instructions without even thinking about what you're trying to do. You're going to end up with instructions that do not make anything useful. Use your common sense. Genetic mutations do not make life more advanced and complex. Genetic mutations cause disease, suffering, and death. He puts his hands over his face and acts all exasperated. In actuality, he and the other Darwinists are exasperating. They hyper-scrutinize the Bible, yet they fail to examine critically Darwinian evolution. This is the whole point. They have been indoctrinated since before they were in preschool. I saw the television shows that my son watched. So without ever hearing an opposing viewpoint during their formative years, they just accept everything that they ever heard as fact. It is not entirely their fault. And as a Christian, I blame the church for not addressing this issue and explaining to people why it makes more sense to believe the Bible. To anyone that is open, I recommend the series Evolution, the Grand Experiment by Carl Werner. Carl Werner is an emergency room physician who had accepted Darwinian evolution because it is what he had always been taught. But he was challenged to look at it. He ended up spending years traveling the world looking at the alleged evidence for evolution himself. What he found is that it all collapses under scrutiny. My favorite is where they examine the whole well evolution exhibit at the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor Museum. The nice illustrations showing the alleged evolution were totally unsupported by the fossil evidence. This is what Darwinists do. They find some fossil fragments, come up with some nice illustrations to show what they want and call that evidence. The fossil fragments do not necessarily even come from the same skeleton. He can base his worldview on Futurama. I choose to base my worldview on the Bible. Folks, this mini Minuteman video has 1.6 million views and 133,000 likes. And you should read some of the 20,886 comments. He is reaching people with the message that you cannot believe the Bible. Folks, you can do something about this. One thing you can do right now is share this video with as many people as you can. Thank you.